Welcome back to the Kinville Show. As you can see, we've covered up the rip in the couch with a festive Christmas blanket, so you no longer have to see our cheap roadside freebie furniture. Welcome back. It's Monday night, kind of winding down from Thanksgiving weekend, kind of a busy weekend for everybody, I'm sure, but we definitely had plenty of stuff going on. Tonight on the episode, we got myself, I've got my dad over there sitting on the couch with Curtis, and Carter, of course, our faithful producer, has not missed an episode yet. Carter's actually the only one that has not missed a single episode, so
perfect attendance.
Perfect attendance award this year is going to Carter.
I thought I was gonna miss one on Friday, but
I know
nobody was around to take my spot.
Yeah, no, we talked about. Carter was going to show me how to produce and set it up, and there was threat of me doing a solo episode, just doing it myself, but didn't come to that.
That wouldn't go off the rails at all.
No, I could only imagine. The worst part is I could do it. I could sit here and have no dead air for an hour and a half with not a single person in the room, and it wouldn't even faze me a bit. So. But actually, just before we started recording, we were talking about a couple of things. But just because it's kind of ties in with Black Friday, one thing I was literally about to say, and I said I'll just save it for the show. I actually ordered a new camera last night on Amazon, and I was on there, and they got it says Cyber Monday or Black Friday. It doesn't matter what day of the week it is. I don't understand.
Yeah, it could say Wednesday.
Yeah, it happened to be Sunday night, and I was getting some Cyber Monday, Black Friday deals on Amazon. And the only reason I was even on there, I was trying to do Christmas shopping for other people. I was like, trying to just check off a few little things on my list to get for others, not for myself. But then I was like, well, just for fun, let me see what kind of deals they got on cameras. And I looked up the camera Carter bought. What did you say the name of it was?
I don't know. It's like the ZV-1E or cheap model.
It basically
Something
it's just the same as the Sony ZV-1, but it's a little bit it's a little more basic. It's a little more gunned down, but it's actually better, I think, for vlogging. The simpler version, it's got less going on. You just barely can't see Bear in my frame. He's over here digging at the couch next to me. But there's nothing there, buddy. Sorry.
You already pulled one bone out of there.
Anyway.
It's got a wider field of view, like when you're zoomed out all the way, so if you're holding the camera out in front of you.
Yeah, better for the vlogging arm,
and
wider angle.
Well, the only downfall, but you don't really need it when you're vlogging, is it doesn't have as good of a zoom feature on it. It still zooms, it's just not a actual lens zoom.
Digital zoom.
Yeah, it's more of a, I think there is some lens zoom, but it's a lot of digital zoom, yeah.
But anyway, Carter got, what'd you say you paid the other day? Didn't you say you got a Cyber Monday?
Yeah, I think it was like $400 maybe.
So that was for the Sony camera, which I know sort of what I'm going to get with that, right? I know it's a quality item, so I figured it would be all right. But I'm looking at it like, $400. I don't really know if I want to spend that. I don't know if I'm that excited to start vlogging again. That's what I was thinking about, because we were rewatching my old videos on the podcast the other day, and I was like, I kind of want to start making them again because I like having them. Just not so much for the idea of, let me try and make a vlog because I want people to watch it. I more or less realized I really do like having them just for the sake of me having them. So it made me, I was like, I definitely want to start doing this again. And I was tempted to just use my old cameras because I've got plenty of them laying around, but they're all old and junkety. And so I just was looking, Cyber Monday deals on Sunday night, and there was $150 for this handy cam that came with a added microphone and a stabilizer handle for $150 on Amazon, and it says it records in 5K. Okay. And I
How
was
many frames a second at 5K?
I don't know. I didn't.
5K a thing?
I don't even know. I have no clue. But I thought I was like, for $150 for this setup, the way it looks, like it looks awesome, right? It looks like a early 2000s professional skateboarding camera setup. You know what I mean? With the big handle
Yeah.
and the microphone off the top, and it's got the wide angle lens attachment. But then, of course, you could strip it down, and it's an old school soccer mom handy cam, right? With the flip around camera.
Okay.
And regardless of the quality, I figured it's something that is useful. Yeah, if you go look on Amazon, you can probably find it. I had to sign up for Amazon Prime.
The first one there says 5K,
That
170.
yeah, this looks like the image. I'm pretty sure this is what I bought. Is this yeah? You can see this.
136.
Huh? Do you remember the brand?
I don't think it has a brand. What does this thing
Where's
say?
it shipped from?
I'm pretty
Direct
sure
from
that's
China?
exactly. Yeah, I think that's exactly what I ordered.
The only thing that are you gonna vlog with that thing that looks like you're trying to make a ski video or a skate video?
Well, so that's the idea, though. That's with all the added pomp and frill. You know, it looks like that. But
Somebody should be filming you vlog with that camera. That would be the key.
people have vlogged with much crazier looking setups. I would say. I
Yeah.
don't think that's that crazy to vlog
Yeah.
with. I also think it looks bigger than it actually is. Like this is the whole thing is not going to be much bigger than my two hands, right? I could easily, consume this whole rig with my hands. Is how I'm picturing it. I could be wrong, but this is
It doesn't matter because for $150, that's a tank of gas. I mean, you can piss away $150 without even thinking about it.
I honestly, that's kind of what I was thinking. I
Yeah.
wasn't looking.
Just an impulse.
Your mother and I went to a place for lunch today. It was $50, and it's
For two people.
yeah. I mean,
And was
That
this a
seem-
kind of place where you had to tip too?
no, you didn't have to, but
They got a jar on the counter
Yeah,
kind of deal. Yeah.
That seems to
Yeah.
be about the going rate, $50, $25
yeah, it's
a
kind of
head.
so 150 for a camera. I mean, so what?
Yeah, well, and I'm kind of excited now because I got no idea if this thing's going to be any good or not, but that'll be its own piece of content,
Yeah.
reviewing this camera, whether I do it on the podcast or just do a separate video, or maybe do it on the podcast and clip it. I dusted off my iPad, and I got that thing ready to rock, so I'm going to start pulling some clips from the podcast too, but. Anyway, so I'm excited about this camera I ordered. We'll have to see. It's all supposed to come within the next week here. Within the next, I think some of the stuff is going to be here on Saturday or Sunday, but it should all be here inside the week.
Or whenever the mail decides it wants to be delivered.
Yeah, they're pretty fickle around here. Actually, we were talking about this the other day. We had some random vehicle pull into our yard, and some pirate-looking fella starts putting mail in the mailbox, and I'm just happy the job's getting done. At the end of the day, I'm truly happy just somebody is delivering mail. I don't really care that much, but it is a little bizarre to have an unmarked, regular right-hand or left-hand drive vehicle. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, well-
there's nothing postal about this, and
Yeah, well, I mean, considering where we live, if someone's in your driveway, you better know who they are.
you better, right? Because
well,
it's not
for a lot of reasons, but so our UPS truck is not a UPS truck; it's a U-Haul.
Yeah,
which
a
is
literal
suspect.
U-Haul.
We have several FedEx trucks, which they're labeled, so that's pretty obvious. But you never know. There's a variety of vehicles that pull in. It could be the mail. It could be Amazon. It could be
Amazon's
anybody.
a weird one. They send these Amazon guys. They'll get out, and sometimes they have the Amazon vest, but I don't think that's very legit. I think anyone could get. You know what I mean? Like, it's just when you live in a place where there's no good reason somebody should be snooping around your yard like this, right?
Right, and especially if you don't know them, because you know all your neighbors, you know most of the people around.
And
So
it really, to me, looks like a Home Alone-esque scam, right? When
yeah.
this beat up nondescript van pulls in and a guy gets like a dirty looking Amazon vest, and that's it. That's all they got on is this the Amazon vest, which who knows where they could have got that.
That's really creepy if he was only wearing a vest.
Yeah, right. But you know, it's bizarre, and to me, like I've gone through this as a kid, being a kid at the house, and you see this, and you see this guy walking up to your porch, and you're like, oh shit, we're about to get robbed. You know what I mean? Because
well, you don't know.
Don't know, and this person it's not the mailman in their classic mailman garb, or the UPS guy. We have always had the same UPS guy, and obviously it's very clear this is UPS. This person is doing a service, like it's not a criminal. But yeah, anyway, today sometimes Amazon or whoever it is, they just show up and it's like, oh my god, like this doesn't seem right.
You just don't know what people are doing. First of all, you don't know what people are doing, period. You see people parked all over the place doing this, that, the other thing.
Yeah.
You don't know. And then someone's pulling in your driveway, and you just don't have any idea, Even the mail, like they have those magnets that they put on their personal cars that say U.S. mail, and they'll put a boo-boo light on the top.
But anyone could do that.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything,
It just, anyway, it's a little bit harder. And I think, like, maybe it's like fear-mongering you see online, but how many videos have you seen of the guy that dresses up like the Amazon guy and is stealing? He's a porch pirate. He's stealing packages. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
well,
that's all I'm thinking about when I see it. And
it's one thing though, like for you or I to be at home and this guy shows up on your door, but like say you're a woman and the guy knocks on the door. He's got a fake box in his hand, and he's saying,
"Oh,
hey, I need
you
a
to
signature." Sign. And then you open the door, and he bashes the door in and
grabs you, snatched.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't know.
Unfortunately, that's my gut reaction as well, and the term going postal comes from post office workers shooting people, right? That's where it comes from. But I have a feeling the shoe might be on the other foot.
Well, you can see that it could be a possibility. I mean, you can see the headline now that an unknown person's in your yard, and even if they did identify themselves, that doesn't mean that they're telling the truth. So
now, and obviously, here's the easy solution to this: is lock your doors. And just don't answer the door.
Yeah.
You don't even have to pretend like you're home. You can pretend like, again, as a kid, often I would just hide and pretend like nobody was home.
Yeah.
And then people knock on the door, nobody's home. And then as long as they knock on the door and then leave, everything is fine. All is as it should be. But if they knock on the door and do not leave, at that point you can call the police or whatever you need to do. So
what the other weird thing is?
There's easy answers for this. Yeah.
Too is they show up late at night. We had a FedEx truck show up here. I think it was like 7:00 at night on a Saturday.
Yeah, we've had that too.
Yeah, that's really bizarre.
Pitch black, and
even on a Sunday, actually, I remember
Sunday after dark.
Yeah,
you were talking about ordering a camera on Amazon. This here popped up for me the other day.
That's what I was going to ask you about.
retro snap.
Yeah,
is it just for taking photos?
It's for taking video here. It makes it look like crappy video. It supposedly shoots it in high quality, but Calvin should have got this for filming his
ski video.
Yeah,
that's the thing. In my opinion, I'm not interested. First of all, if you want that older look, I do think just go get an old camera.
Yeah, put it on film.
Put it on film if that's the look you want. But also in that same breath, I would also say if you just have a good camera and you can shoot in HD, if you know how to use a computer and editing software, you can make it look like whatever you want it to look like.
Yeah.
Literally, there's movies in movie theaters filmed on iPhones. So the only difference between them and you is the guy sitting behind the computer editing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that camera obviously is meant for someone who put no thought into anything.
Well, I could see that that's like a fun gimmicky gift.
Yeah.
That's
it's $50.
Yeah, that's something you get for your niece or nephew that they're a tween and you don't know what they want. it's a fun little gimmick.
Yeah.
It's a toy.
It fits on you. Goes on a keychain too. It's kind of cool to point
Well,
and shoot.
yeah.
You know what I saw
with you
that
all
I
the
really
time.
liked? I forget who it was that put it out. I wish I could remember what camera company, but it was literally like a carabiner, this camera, and it just had one edge of it was like a mirror, so you could, that was the idea, is line it up so you can see yourself in the mirror, point it at yourself, and you click this USB drive carabiner like little thing to get a photo. Like if you're an outdoorsy person, and part of the idea was, here we go, the Canon. I don't know what the quality of this thing is, but I always wanted one. This was something when it came out. It just seemed like, oh, that's kind of sick. A little carabiner thing. It actually has a tripod mount on the bottom. I think it does video too. Does it even have a screen on it? Do you know? Can you see?
I
Probably
can't
not.
see anything.
Doesn't look
Yeah,
like it.
I believe that was part of the idea, is that if you wanted to, you would link it to your phone and you could look at all this stuff, or you can just store, several pictures or videos right on it without messing with. You can capture the memories without messing with the internet and being on your phone and all this.
It records
crap, right?
1080p at 60 frames a second.
So I mean that's a pretty cool. Again, more on the gimmicky side. But
Break down the specs on that, Carter. What's the storage on that, and what's the battery life?
Well, it doesn't say if it takes an SD card or not. I don't see if that's
I don't
an
know
option,
as if it does, because I think it's somewhat weatherproof. I don't think you can. I don't know if it has any ports other than like the charge port.
Well, that would make it a lot better if there was no openings on it.
How old
Yeah.
is this camera?
I want to say that was like 2016.
Yeah,
around.
because the specifications page on Canon's website's just gone.
Yeah, it's so most of my camera knowledge comes from around 2016.
When you were really big into when you're trying to vlog all the time.
Yeah, and Casey Neistat was making YouTube videos, and he's an actual filmmaker. For what a lot of people want to shit on that. He's made legitimate movies that have been sold to HBO, and he goes to film festivals, right? If you're going and showing a film at Sundance Film Festival, I would say, as annoying as it might sound, you can call yourself a filmmaker, right? That's what Sundance is kind of for, is for that realm of
independent films.
If that's what you're doing, I think. Anyway, so that's what he was all about, and so he really got into talking about cameras and stuff, and so I was super into it. Like that was like my niche for many years, and I've recently had to come to grips with the fact that was 8 years ago.
Time flies.
Yeah, it does.
You're not even that old, and time flies. How many old people have you heard, or they try to tell you how fast time flies, and it only gets faster, it gets worse as you get older, blah, blah, blah.
Well, what else was funny today? I was talking to this older woman, and she kept asking me where I went to high school, and I obviously know it's because she thinks I'm in high school, and I just eventually I like kind of stopped her, and I said, actually, I'm 24 years old, and she's like, my goodness. You look so young, and
You didn't completely break her down and tell her you're homeschooled, did you?
Well, no, I did initially, earlier on in the conversation that had come up, but no, another thing in terms of time passing, and again another thing we started talking about before the show, I used to say "Just Go With It" was one of the better new Adam Sandler movies.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. How old is that?
I think again that's also like 2016.
Yeah.
Just Go With It. Now I can just say I think it's one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies. Right?
Would you say how old? What was the date you put on that?
I said 2016.
2011.
2011. Holy shit!
Wow.
That's crazy.
You're closing in on 14 years.
That's bananas. Because honest to God, I would go around saying, "Oh yeah, out of the new Adam Sandler movies, Just Go With It's good."
What's the newest Adam Sandler movie? What
What does he even have out now?
was the last one to be released?
don't know if I could say off the top of my head. I know like Hubie Halloween.
That's a few years
He
old.
did the 2 dinner date movies with what's that?
Oh yeah, Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston also.
I mean, they're
in
all
Just Go With
Netflix
It.
because he's got the deal with Netflix.
Big deal on at Netflix.
The newest movie's called Spaceman.
That was a bizarre one. That is a
That's
Netflix one. It's not really. I mean, it's some form of comedy, but it's bizarre. I haven't watched it in fairness, but the trailer I remember seeing it was bizarre. Yeah, Murder Mystery 2. That wasn't that long ago. But yeah, I
don't think I've seen this.
I haven't seen it yet.
Is it out now?
It says 2024. It probably came out recently. I saw a trailer and he's talking to like a giant CGI spider inside a spaceship. It was
Weird.
like, yeah, it was really bizarre. It didn't make
Sandman off the rails.
Yeah. Honestly, so people want to give him all kinds of shit.
Yeah, it came out March 1st.
March 1st, yeah.
That's bizarre. That none of us have seen it or heard of it.
Stuff gets lost in the sand. You know, stuff just gets lost because there's too much content coming out. But I think it's kind of okay. The good stuff will still rise to the top, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like Uncut Gems, again, Netflix project, right?
Was it?
I think so. I think or I could be wrong. Maybe it wasn't a Netflix.
I think
project,
that was one of the last ones before he did his Netflix deal.
But anyway, that was to me something bizarre. Again, a really odd choice for Adam Sandler, right? In comparison to his other stuff.
Yeah.
Compare that to The Waterboy. You know, all of a sudden you got Uncut Gems. Pretty drastic change, but that's a renowned movie. Everybody talks about it like it's a good, not just. I haven't even seen it. I know it's not a comedy, but people say it's like an actual good movie.
Yeah, that's one thing that we could actually talk about. We're getting towards the end of the year here, and what's the best show that was streamed this year? Best show, best movie. I mean, you could consider stuff that's been in the theaters, but
I'm trying to think of what I've consumed for like main. I don't even know what's mainstream anymore, but whatever's what old media, let's just say TV and movies. I don't even know what I've consumed in the last year for.
Has anybody watched The Penguin?
No.
I've heard a lot about it. I wanted to watch it. I enjoyed the Batman movie that it's related to, but
it's really good. It's obviously a DC product, but you would never know it. You would never know you're watching anything cartoonish at all.
People have compared it to Sopranos.
Yeah, I'd say Sopranos is like a cartoon compared to Penguin.
Okay.
It's I don't know. It's really good. It tells a good story.
That's what I've heard.
It tells a good backstory. It shows you where Oswald came from and how he got his name and his family.
Is Batman in it?
No, not in the first season. It just takes place in Gotham. Oswald he belonged to a crime family and a mafia family, and it kind of takes off from there. But it was really good. I just finished it the other day, and I'd recommend it for sure.
I heard just a different podcast. Even if you're not into superheroes and nerdy stuff, people are saying totally watch it. It's a good.
Yeah, if you hate Batman, if you hate comics, if you hate any of that stuff, it doesn't even matter because it really has nothing to do with any of that. It just uses the same place, and it uses a character from Batman, but it really only revolves around his life and where he came from and his mother.
Like
It's,
how Andor was.
Probably similar in the fact that it's isolated. What I was gonna say, is it Colin Farrell that plays the Penguin, or Colin Firth?
No,
Look it up real quick.
Colin
Carter.
Firth, that's the British guy on YouTube that's digging under his
This guy's
garage.
it's not Colin
this guy's,
Farrell.
but he's
It's,
also British or something. He's not, or Irish. He's not American.
I can't think of his name right at the moment, but that's another thing too. Just the absolute incredible nature.
Didn't they win an award for the makeup on his face?
If he didn't already win, if they didn't already win for that, they should because
You'd
you
never
don't-
know it's him.
Right, you don't like.
Yeah, Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell. Okay, that's so this guy is a super successful guy. Part of it has to do with the way he looks, right? Not that he's not a good actor, but I think, when stuff ends up working out and being a good show, this is a case where this actor, obviously, somebody showed him something, he read something, and he goes, I really love this. I'm really excited to do this. To sit there and do the makeup every day to film this.
Yeah.
You got to really be committed. And did you pull this up on stream? You can see the differences in what he looks like in the Penguin versus real life. But yeah, he was in the Batman movie, which I did watch. He's not in a lot of it. But yeah, what you do see in the Batman movie sets up the character really well, and you're like, oh, this could be interesting. So
yeah, it's a complete departure from all the other Penguin, Joker, that kind of cartoonish characters. It's not cartoonish in any way. It's just a good show. So
and fortunately or unfortunately, it's part of what they're now calling DC Elseworlds. It's
Elseworlds.
Yeah, or Other Worlds, or some, I think it might be Elseworlds. I don't know, but so James Gunn is now in charge of all things DC. He's kind of doing what Jon Favreau and what's the other guy over at Star Wars? That
Yeah.
There's always like one person that's trying to thread the needle of all the different projects. Now that's James Gunn. But they were already doing the Robert Pattinson Batman and this Penguin show, and people are like, is that going to connect? Is this the new universe we're going to build off of? How is it going to go? And he just said, he's like, all this is fine, and we don't want to ruin it. We're just going to say that's a separate universe. That's not going to be the main universe. So it's an Elseworld.
Yeah, I think people are generally burned out on the superhero movies. I mean, they went for a good 10 to 15 year run of several movies a year, whether it be DC or Marvel.
And there's some of the they fill up most of the slots for highest grossing movies of all time. They're all bang right up there. And I definitely feel like I have been burned out of superhero. And again, I think that's partly why I didn't bother to watch the Penguin, because back when all the DC shows were on the CW, I watched the hell out of them. I watched every single one. At one point, there was like 5 or 6 shows running at a time, all DC related.
Yeah.
And they all crossed over all the time. They ended up connecting to Smallville, which is the original DC.
Yeah, I think that's why they all took off, because Smallville was such a massive hit.
100%. And when they got, is it Tom Welling?
Yeah.
When he came back to the CW to cameo, they got him and Baumgartner. What is it? Rosenbaum.
Rosenbaum, Lex.
Michael Rosenbaum, right?
Yeah.
I think they got them both to come back. But that kind of like re-sparked the popularity for Smallville and him as Superman. And now they do this Smallville podcast where they break down every episode. It's just funny because, that's like older and it got made fun of a lot in its time. But like looking back, I think it's some of the peak DC superhero content.
I've always been a Marvel person. I never really liked DC, but Smallville to me is just that's the top of my list for if I'm gonna invest time in a comic book anything. I think it was so well done. Yeah. I know it's kind of corny at times, but it was based on a comic book, so you can't expect that
it's super corny, but you buy into it in the sense like it always reminded me of like how Phineas and Ferb was like very like a song, right?
Yeah.
It has a rhythm. Every episode has the exact same beats and the exact same rhythm. It was familiar. You didn't necessarily know what was going to happen, but you kind of knew what was going to happen because you knew the show was going to follow the same rhythm and flow every episode.
Just what you said too. The music, they played current contemporary music too
in
the episodes.
Pop Rocks. If you ever listen to Pop Rocks on Sirius XM, that was like the soundtrack to Smallville.
Yeah.
Didn't they have Lifehouse in an episode?
Yep. I think they played at the coffee shop.
Yeah. But I don't know. It was a really, as far as DC goes, in storytelling, I think for me personally, I prefer it over even what the CW put together over their many shows in many years.
I would say if to equate it to what goes on today, like if you spend any time watching Outer Banks or Cobra Kai, both of those shows are totally corny, unbelievable. Like check your brain at the door. Don't even think about what's going on.
Super corny.
Smallville's better than them,
right?
And it was made 20 years before those shows, and it was just a good show, and I know people make fun of it, but
I think though it's one of those things like the Star Wars prequels, and it was hated a little bit by nerds in its time. Not that it wasn't enjoyed, because it ran for a long time. It was a popular show, but it was nerds that hated on it, right? The comic book nerds, because it wasn't 100% accurate, and they wanted things to be accurate, blah, 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 whatever. Now we've gotten to a point where you understand it's an adaptation of the comic. The original comic will always exist. No one will ever change that for you. And you get different adaptations, and you get to see what a different artist puts a spin on a character, right? That's how I like to look at it. Every time I see a superhero thing, I'm not mad because it's not the way I want it. You know what I mean? I'm just like, this is a new take.
Well, I mean, I grew up with Christopher Reeve as Superman, and to me, my whole life, that was Superman. Everybody else was an imposter. I no longer think that way. Tom Welling is Superman to me. And I watch Christopher Reeve. I'm like, what an idiot. What was I thinking?
What a bozo. He looks so skinny.
It's kind of crazy. But, actually at the time, Charmed was a big show, too.
Yeah.
Equally as
and
corny.
like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That was the same era.
Yeah.
And very corny.
Smallville is better than all of them. That's the one that will outlast.
Yeah.
It seems like all the TV shows in this era, now that Yellowstone has come out and been so popular. I don't know if you've seen the advertisement for the show Landman.
No, I haven't seen that.
Man.
It's essentially like Yellowstone, but instead of fighting for the ranch, they're fighting for the oil field.
Oh, man. Oh, so it's like Texas Yellowstone. Didn't we hear about this already?
Do they have their own train station?
This is Taylor
Probably.
Sheridan.
Yeah.
Isn't
Well, that's
this
what I
the
mean.
same guy?
Yeah.
We heard about this.
Every TV show now, I feel like, is Taylor Sheridan.
Is this McConaughey?
Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh, Billy Bob Thornton. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Billy Bob's a good actor, though. I mean, even if the show sucks, people will watch it for him.
And that's, I haven't seen the show. I watch everything through clips on TikTok, but I have seen the clips on TikTok. And if you like Billy Bob Thornton, it's good.
It's probably the same thing that made Yellowstone popular, though, as everybody likes Kevin Costner. So that's why Yellowstone
to an extent
became so popular.
And I think it's also like a willingness to like not a lot of like mainstream shows, or again, like I said earlier, old media, right? Not a lot of old media shows are willing to push abrasive characters, or like characters that aren't afraid to rub people the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
Like if you watch every Star Wars movie, every Marvel movie, all these characters are so safe now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like back in the day, that's why people like to argue and say Han shot first, right? Because back in the day, people weren't afraid to let people root for a ruthless criminal.
An anti-hero.
Yeah, this guy's not afraid to shoot first and ask questions later. He used to be allowed to root for that kind of a thing. We got to an era, which I think everyone can see now, and you can kind of look back on as a certain era of time. I think we're kind of coming out of it, where it was really frowned upon to have any lead characters have any sort of stance on anything. Like that's what I like about Yellowstone is these characters, very clearly the characters have a specific worldview and how they want things to be, but the show I don't think is like cramming anything down your throat, because I feel like it shows you what these characters are like and what happens if you live to the fullest extent of their beliefs. And it doesn't always go well for them. Sometimes shit goes sideways. It can be very ugly, and you as the viewer can decide whether or not these people should be idolized or not, right? Like Rip is a really cool character, and I saw a lot of guys dressed as him for Halloween, but ultimately he's a murderer and a criminal. that's it's like Walter White or something.
Or
it's like
I would say it's more akin to a mob movie. Like
sure,
if just pick
Sopranos.
Yeah, pick whatever mob movie you want. The badass, the guy that's going around shooting everybody. Shoot first, ask questions later. That's the guy. The people want to be or they want to emulate or whatever. And Rip's no different. It's just set in Wyoming.
Yeah,
Montana. And instead of New York City, Just before we go too far from Billy Bob, the thing that my favorite Billy Bob scene is actually in the movie Tombstone. Does anybody remember watching Tombstone?
I don't even know what Tombstone is.
Who plays Wyatt Earp in that one? I know it's a Wyatt Earp.
You had us
right?
watch Tombstone?
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell as Wyatt Earp.
Yeah. So there's a Kevin Costner Wyatt Earp. I think it's called Wyatt Earp.
Yeah.
Which Kevin Costner tries to be serious. And Tombstone is, I think they tried to make it for serious, but with this undertone of, we're going to try and make you think this is serious, but really we're making a comedy here. So
and honestly, when I watched it, it felt to me like watching a comedy. Not that it's not a good movie, but
it's a good movie. But if you're not laughing at it, there's something wrong with you because there's a scene where Kurt Russell walks into a saloon and Billy Bob is the dealer, and he's a crooked dealer. He's scamming everybody, and he's a real jerk. And he just walks over to him, and I can't remember the lines verbatim, but I almost can't even make it through the scene without crying. I'm laughing so hard, But like instead of calling, like one of the things he says is, Billy Bob's got his hand on a pistol, and he says, "Go ahead, jerk that smoke wagon." I mean, just stuff like that. I mean, it just makes me burst out in laughter. And then he humiliates Billy Bob. Like, it's just funny. I mean, you probably can't pull up that clip, but.
You think you want me to do it, or you would it get?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Shot down.
It's just at a certain point we do have to decide if we're gonna try and get YouTube ads or not. I don't think it's that big a deal.
Anybody listening, watching, look it up on YouTube.
Look it up, or if somebody, I think again, Super Chat is on, and nobody's ever given us a Super Chat. Throw us a $10 Super Chat. That's more money than the whole video will make. I mean, we'll play the video then.
For Super Chat instead.
Yeah.
Thanks,
that's exactly.
Yeah. It's almost gone, by the way.
Actually, I ate all of my Chex Mix. If you watched the last podcast, Aunt Amy sent each of us our own personal bag of Chex Mix. And I ate my entire bag already. I brought it right next to my bed. I laid in bed and I just ate the entire bag. I felt good about it, honestly. I was sad it was empty, but
yeah. So if anybody wants a good laugh, just watch that scene because it's just great.
Did you have us watch Tombstone when we were younger?
I thought we all watched it, but
I don't even remember.
I remember like 2 different times. I don't remember which time we watched it, but like when we were super into cowboys, we watched all kinds of these movies, and I think Tombstone was one of them because it was like this weird line where you can kind of watch it with your kids. Like it's not
too bad. I mean,
I as a kid, I don't remember seeing anything that like I don't remember the movie super well at all. But what I do remember, it was like hokey slapstick kind of a movie.
Well, there's just funny breakpoints too. Like, one of the bad guys is in town, and he's trying to get Wyatt to fight, I think. And Wyatt's like, "I'm not going to do it," or maybe it was one of the other Earp brothers. I don't know. And Val Kilmer's there, and he plays Doc Holliday, and he's just kind of standing there leaning on a post, and the guy's egging on somebody, and Val just says, "I'm your Huckleberry," And, he wants to take him on for the fight, and you must have seen that on T-shirts, right? I'm your Huckleberry.
Yeah.
So that's a kind of funny scene too, but
that's what Scott always talks about. That's one of his sayings he says all the time is when I don't know if it was in that scene or if it's in the end of the movie, Doc Holliday was getting ready to shoot out with the other guy there. And he's like, "Say when."
Yeah. No, it's
quotable movie.
It's you can just pick out these scenes and you can just watch them. And you guys know that I always talked about the Simpsons. The Pinewood Derby car episode. That used to be the funniest thing I ever saw on TV.
Yeah.
And Tombstone is kind of like that for me. I mean, I just or Uncle Rico, not Uncle Rico,
Kip.
but Kip backing over the
Tupperware.
crapperware.
Oh,
man, it just hits just right, you know.
You want to talk about another movie that's 20 years old, Napoleon
20?
Dynamite? Isn't it?
It's probably more than that.
I thought it was 2004.
Could be, yeah. It's just
I think
insane that it's been that long.
2004 was the initial release.
2004.
Yeah. Didn't pop off till like 2007 later on, but thanks to DVD sales, which we no longer have.
Right. Yeah, anything can pop off now with streaming. I mean, jeez.
If it makes its way to streaming, right? Because a lot of these streaming places, they like to make their shit in-house.
Yeah.
So you're not getting a Jared Hess production. You're getting some sanitized Netflix production. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I was trying to really think hard about like what I've seen this year in terms of like what's been good this year. And
yeah, don't forget we had the writer's strike and all that too. That
Right,
that really
backed everything
suppressed
up.
American-made stuff. I mean, there's tons of foreign stuff. But
what's can you look up a list, Carter, of what movies came out this year?
Is this gonna be an all movie podcast? Because I got nothing to add for movies ever.
Nothing at all?
Nothing really. I mean, I'm not like a movie head.
What you had to have watched movies this year. What did you watch?
well, I started it off with a TV show. You tell me you don't watch anything on streaming or TV?
Not
or
really.
anything?
I've been watching YouTube. The only thing Cassidy and I watched was Love Is Blind.
Love is Blind. There you go.
There's a TV series.
Yeah.
And at this point, I think you could say if you're gonna say what's your favorite show, what are the top movies, you can basically say what are your top YouTube channels too. I mean,
Well, and that's one thing
an
I was gonna
episodic thing.
get to because I think at least I know Curtis watches it. I don't know if he watches it religiously, but Kill Tony,
yeah, huge.
huge, and it's finally. So I've been watching it for a while, and there's a long time where nobody knew what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They're like, no, I don't get
Nobody
it.
knew before the Tom Brady roast.
Right. That's exactly it. The Tom Brady roast. They literally plugged it. They had his logo on the screen.
Yeah.
And that was the tipping point. Now everybody knows about it, and when I talk about it, people know what I'm talking about. And that's I'm really happy to see that change because I've been talking about YouTube and YouTubers long before anybody cared or knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
And now that it can be regular discussion with people being a little bit older than me, people my own age, kids in high school, it seems to span the 18 to 24 demographic, and then some.
Did speaking of that Tom Brady roast, you know the black individual from Boston that they were on there and
Punky?
Did
it
they
Punky Johnson? Is that who it was?
I don't remember, but
With the glasses.
yeah, I thought
one
they
of
were
the
really
comedians.
Funny. I thought they were really funny.
I think that's Punk. Wasn't she on SNL? Am I thinking of the same person? Look
not
up
sure.
the cast of the Tom Brady roast, just so we know who we're talking about.
Yeah, that's another person for me that I didn't know, but after the roast, I was like, wow, it's good.
Sam J.
Sam.
Oh
J.
yeah, okay, Sam J. Yeah, I'm thinking of the woman from SNL.
Okay, you want me to read you the top? Well, I'll read you
give me one more second because while we're still on the Tom Brady roast, I was thinking of that some other comedian like specials that I'd seen this year. Didn't Shane Gillis put out a special this year?
Yeah, dogs, whatever dogs.
Beautiful Dogs.
Beautiful Dogs.
That came out. Joe Rogan had a special that sucked.
I didn't think it sucked. I mean, it was all right for a live thing.
I saw another comedian trying to play off the fact that Joe Rogan reused jokes from a 2008 special. They're like, well, don't get mad when you're watching a special just because you might have heard something before on a podcast. Believe me, I understand when comedians are podcasting that something they say on a podcast very well could spur an entire bit, right?
Yeah.
So, a lot of times that happens because I listen to so many podcasts that I'll hear material and I'll be like, oh, I remember the episode where they wrote that.
Yeah.
And I do enjoy that. But this was not that. Joe Rogan never does stand-up on his podcast. He is almost never even funny or comedic on his podcast, right? He's stiff as a board, right? And he was reusing jokes from a 2008 special for his newest Netflix special, where he's been honing this set for years since before
this is the second time I've got this call. It's the CDC calling to see if I've been vaccinated.
You should answer it and take the survey on.
Put them on. This is the CDC calling.
Hello.
Hello, my name is Jeff Diaz-Leal, and I'm calling on behalf of the.
My name is Jeff.
Prevention, the CDC. How are
My
you?
name is Jeff. My name is Jeff. Jeff, are you with us?
What's the CDC stand for anyway?
Jeff, we're losing you, bud.
Completely disgusting chumps. Well, guess you didn't like that.
I'm also in the middle of trying to do a marketplace deal, and the guy's
What are you
pissing
selling?
me off. I'm trying to buy a cap for my truck.
Oh, you don't want my cap, though, huh? My cap's not good enough.
Your cap's got a broken door on the back.
It just needs a latch. It don't got a broken door.
Like a contractor one with the toolboxes?
Well, I was looking for a contractor one, but the contractor ones are pretty hard to find.
I just saw one for $750.
I actually saw
There's a bunch on there, but they don't all fit.
Yeah.
You seen the space box?
Yeah, space cap.
Space cap? I saw one of those the other day for like $500.
Curtis,
Yeah.
Let's Never Let Go.
It's a horror movie that we watched. It was all right. It was kind of kooky. One of those ones that ends and you don't know. You kind of
Leaves you hanging.
open to interpretation how the ending was, but you don't know. It was a scary movie, and you don't know if this woman was cursed or if it was like schizophrenia type of thing.
So the top movies that came out this year. Well, I guess I can just put the list up here. That'd probably make the most sense.
All right, this is actually good because, all right, so this is in terms of what they earned. but
Moana 2? When did Moana 2
It's not
come
out yet.
Didn't see
It's
it.
not out yet.
Or is it in theaters right now?
Maybe it's not in theaters now, but yeah, what do you got?
I got number 12 was the only one I saw.
Twisters,
Out
which
of
was
it.
good. It was fun.
I haven't seen any of them
So-
far.
Wicked only came out a week ago.
Maybe Moana did too.
Yeah, it did. Came out last week.
So wait, stay at the top for a second. Inside Out 2 I haven't seen yet, have not watched.
Yeah.
Deadpool and Wolverine, Calvin and I did make a pilgrimage to the movie theater to see it. I thought it was totally a good movie, totally a fun watch. Don't know if I needed to go to the theater to see it. It had like, it was good, but it didn't have anything like necessary to see. I felt like, you know what I mean? It was a lot of fun, but it didn't feel necessary to me in terms of a Marvel fan. Despicable Me 4, I saw that. I actually really enjoyed that. It's obviously something you are meant to watch it with kids.
Yeah,
so if you're
kids movie.
if you're not watching it with kids, you're doing something wrong. It's not for you. But watch it with kids, and it's fun. It's a fun watch. So
I think maybe we're doing something wrong anyway. We got Inside Out 2, Despicable Me 4, Dune Part 2, Kung Fu Panda 4. You know,
Kung
it's
Fu
like,
Panda 4, I did not see.
Can we get something new up there?
How about Beetlejuice?
Yeah.
Bringing back another
I wanted to see.
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Sorry to keep going, but these are all sequels. You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I mean,
wanted to see
Homunculus.
Dune 2. I watched Dune 1, but
Anybody watching the series that's on Max, I think?
No, I didn't even know there was one.
It's a Dune origin series.
oh really?
I have not gotten into Dune yet.
I did watch Quiet Place Day 1.
How's that?
Yeah, that was all right.
Honestly, what this list shows is people are taking their kids to the movies, basically, you know.
Right.
Is
Well, and that's kind of true because people might not choose to go to, like, if you live alone and you got a nice TV and a good recliner, you probably don't care about going to the theater. But that's still something to do with kids. Is go to the theater.
Alien Romulus, is that like a spin-off of the other alien movies?
It's,
Like it continues the story.
I think so.
Yeah.
I meant to watch it because I was into like Prometheus and the other alien movies that are
Yeah.
connected.
I think it's just a I think it's basically an alien movie, but
You're going too fast on this list.
I
for
think
me.
it's a standalone thing. I think it just the same story all over again. People run into the aliens, one person escapes, that type of thing.
I did enjoy Twisters. Watched it at home. Didn't see it in theaters. The Wild Robot. I know it's a cartoon that people loved. Have not bothered to see it. Gladiator 2.
That just came out.
Haven't seen Gladiator 1, but I've heard they're both great. Quiet Place Day 1. Curtis gave you the scoop on that. Garfield movie. Who does the voice of Garfield? Is it friggin' what's his face again? Chris Pratt. Did he do Garfield?
I don't
feel
know.
like he's doing
Yeah, I don't know.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're probably right.
I did not see. I didn't see who did that. What else we got on here?
Long Legs. I did watch that one. What's Transformers 1? I didn't know there was a
That's a
Transformers.
cartoon.
Oh.
That's for kids. Not people say if you're into the deep Transformers lore, it's actually really good. But if you see the animation style, it's very clearly meant for kids.
Yeah, it's like the toys.
The Joker sequel, Folie à Deux. I don't speak French, but I've heard other people say that. That's the only reason I know how to say that.
Yeah, Chris Pratt did Garfield.
Yeah, how the fuck did I know that? Guys, there's so many great voice actors. Let's
Red
get someone
One
else.
is that a?
That's a Christmas movie.
Oh.
I believe
Oh,
it's
yeah, that's-
actually an Amazon movie, and they stripped the branding.
So that's the one with the
theaters.
Rock, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
So
yet.
again, you're almost past Fall Guy. I haven't even got to that, but that's
Okay.
another movie I saw. We didn't you watch Fall Guy with me, Dad?
Yeah, I watched Fall Guy. I wasn't impressed, but
I wasn't.
that's old guy energy, I guess.
The only thing I enjoyed, I think Ryan Gosling had good outfits in the movie. He had a nice denim jacket.
Yeah.
That's why I bought those boots I bought, because he was wearing them in the movie. So I went out and got them. Does have cameos from the original Fall Guy cast. So, but other than that, nothing to do with the Fall Guy.
Civil War was crap.
Civil War, we saw that in theaters. Me, Mom, and Dad saw it in theaters.
What was that about?
I enjoyed it. It's about journalism. It takes place in an alternate reality.
Yeah,
Because that was Dad's biggest complaint after watching the movie is that these things would never happen. But
Oh, that's the one where the
America's at
America
Civil War, and
ends. Yeah.
I would watch it again. I didn't care for the way it ended. I think the way it ended kind of shows their cards a little bit and what they were like, rather than
There's an agenda there.
yeah, like it could have just been it could have been done better to where it was more fun. I think it needed a more ambiguous ending. It still has an ambiguous ending, but it has a more clear tone. I think the tone could have been more ambiguous. So
The problem I had with it was watching the trailer and the preview, stuff like that.
they hyped up Jesse Clemens.
Clemens. I think I went into it thinking it was more. I thought there was going to be a storyline with this war,
But
and
it
it just-
never tells you what's
there's
going on.
never any storyline about the war. It's strictly about this woman taking pictures.
Yeah.
and that's it. And I don't know.
It would
I
be
felt a
nice to
little
know.
duped.
Well, I was okay with the war not being the main focus, but the movie is made in such a way that very clearly nobody had written the backstory
Right.
for what's going on.
Yeah, there's no storyline.
Yeah,
outside of the fact that there's a civil war going on.
Yeah, and it's really obvious, and you didn't have to make that the focus of the movie if you didn't want, but somebody somewhere needed to write it because it's clear it didn't exist during the making of the movie, which makes it harder to watch.
I think if you can make a movie called High Q, the dumpster battle, and it's going to make 100 million worldwide, I think somebody, I
Well,
think,
that's obviously
what-
not American.
Yeah,
right?
well,
yeah, who
it-
made
it's-
that?
It shows 93 foreign, and 7 million.
Oh, it's an anime.
Yeah, but again, what do you have to do to make 100 million these days? Practically nothing.
A volleyball anime.
That looks like that's pretty much it. I mean,
Yeah, I'm trying to see
Yeah,
anything else I've seen here.
Couple horror movies.
Oh, Horizon.
Oh yeah, that's too bad. That's too bad they screwed that one up. We watched that too.
Horizon.
Yeah.
That wasn't good.
Oh yeah, son of a bitch. Yeah.
They ruined it.
God. Yeah,
Why,
they
you-
wasted my time.
You didn't like the way they were cutting the clips back and forth.
The
No,
problem
man.
with it, the biggest problem with it is you sit through this whole long ass movie.
Well,
It's really long.
Well, just to add a little something to what you're about to say.
Yeah.
You're investing into this, and you know you're going into it having to invest.
Right.
The whole first 2/3 of the movie, you're like, okay,
And-
I'm
and-
willing to invest the time. It's a good story, and you're going along, and then bam, it hits you towards the end.
Right at the end of the movie, they play a music video montage of what's gonna happen in the next movie. Right? Wasn't that
basically? Yeah.
it? It rather than just either ending the movie and say having you watered up for part 2, which I was a little bit sad that almost nothing really happened. It's all setup. This whole first
3
movie,
hours.
3 hours of setup, which I'm a Costner investor. Get me in on the ground floor. I was willing to give it to him, right? The 3 hours of investment. I said, take it, have it. And then right at the end, instead of just saying, wait for the next movie because you'll get to see all the payoff,
Yeah.
it was like a 3-minute music video of what's coming in the next movie. And it's like, well, what, literally you are not going to need the next movie. You can watch that last 3 minutes of this movie and it spoils all the payoff that you were waiting 3 hours
or
for.
are you gonna get an extra big payoff, even more unexpected stuff?
I don't know.
We won't know now because they shit canned it.
They did?
I
Yeah.
think they did.
They shit canned the next part. They
it
just
did
totally
bad,
threw it
right?
in the dumpster because look at how
Go back up to it. What was Horizon American Saga Chapter 1?
38 million.
And
Come
they
on.
spent a lot of money on making it.
It actually, when the thing ended, it made me want to seek out Kevin Costner and pull all his fingernails out with pliers. I was so angry.
I felt cheated at the end of that. I don't know. Let's look up TV shows that came out this year, because I'm sure there was something we might have watched that came out this year. We talked about Andor a bit earlier, but I think that was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that's been a couple years now.
Guess how much it says it cost to make Horizons 1.
300.
I'm gonna say 120.
Nah, 100 million.
Oh.
But it made 32 million. So
Yeah, so
Yes.
big bomb.
Take us
Reagan
down.
was the only.
Yeah, take us down to the 100 because might as well
Oh.
look.
Star Wars re-release.
That was
Yeah.
the anniversary, right?
Yeah, they put out in theaters.
Now, I don't understand why we can't do that more often, re-releases. It doesn't cost people much.
Am I racist? Oh, we're past 100 now, but
That was
That's pretty crazy to have that on the list. You got to subscribe to Daily Wire to watch it.
hey, it made it on the list. but
I did watch that. That was a movie that I did watch.
people would have complained if it wasn't on there. That's
Yeah.
why you got to put it on there. Because
Well, I'm not saying you shouldn't put it on this list. I'm saying that it's amazing that it makes the list at all because you have to subscribe to Daily Wire.
oh right, that it even
That it-
broke the what did it say 10
It's like 120. Is that?
thousand? What did it say it earned? That's what I'm asking.
Oh, 12 million.
12 million. Yeah. It seems that's pretty impressive, like you said, considering you have to go to Daily Wire to get it. So
While Carter's looking for that list of shows, one thing I'm not quite done with it. The past couple of mornings I've been watching is a yacht rock documentary.
oh really?
It's on Max. That's a good.
Is that new?
Yeah, brand new. It's
Is that what it's called? Yacht Rock? Or is that just.
yeah, a documentary spelled DOCK.
That's funny.
well, is it about like the radio station or the people that are on the station?
No, it's about how the music got
The
turned.
genre of
Yeah,
music.
who came up with the name yacht rock, the artists that were that comprised it, how you determine what yacht rock is.
Which
It's only a recent thing that they call it Yacht Rock, right?
Yeah, so
who falls into yacht rock?
well, that's an interesting.
For me, if I hear yacht rock, Steely Dan, That's the first thing that comes to mind.
Basically, it's I would recommend anyone to watch it, but basically it was sort of based around Steely Dan initially because Steely Dan, it was Walter Becker and Donald Fagen is the core of Steely Dan. They had to have constant session musicians to create these albums because they were never happy. It was never good enough for them. So they would bring in 10 different people to play parts in their songs, and whoever did it the best, or they would keep bringing them in until they got what they wanted. So all these session musicians were always hanging out together, and that's sort of the basis of it. A Southern California R&B, jazz, rock that came together. The jumping off point from that was Michael McDonald. He's like kind of the guy that was on everything. And Michael McDonald and Kenny Loggins wrote a song together, and that is where yacht rock was born, according to the documentary. The term yacht rock came from these comedians that got together to make a mockumentary about yacht rock, and they're the ones that coined the term. And so there's a movie out there that they made, and I can't remember the name of it, but they're the ones that coined it yacht rock. And then they gave credit to SiriusXM for actually having a channel, and they said that Sirius is the one that brought it to the forefront and made it so everybody knows what you say when you say yacht rock.
Right.
Also, an interesting thing, Christopher Cross won 5 Grammys for his first album, and no one had ever done that. He ran the table, album of the year, song of the year, a couple other ones, new artist of the year. The only other person to ever do that was Billie Eilish just recently.
Really?
Yeah.
Christopher Cross, what's one of his songs I'm trying to think
Sailing.
of?
Ride
Sailing.
Like the Wind.
Ride Like the Wind. That's the one I can hear all the time. Ride like the wind.
He claims he was in a van going to a show, sitting in the front seat. He dropped acid and wrote the whole thing on the way to the show. So whether that's true or not, I don't know. That's the thing about this documentary is it gives a lot of these stories. You learn a lot about these people, and like the Porcaro brothers. There's 3 of them, and they're in Toto, the band Toto.
Oh, really?
And they're all over every one of these albums. So it's a really good. If you're into music at all, it's really good.
Isn't that funny how when when a genre is kind of having a moment, all these same people are kind of tied to it. Like I don't know of any other real good examples, but I think of country music right now. There's this certain group in Nashville that are all on each other's songs all the time, and everybody's feeding each other, and it's, to me, when you listen to it, it's its own separate part of country music, right? It all plays great together, but it doesn't necessarily all play with 90s country or earlier country than that.
Yep,
it's all different eras, but
very similar thing. A group of people get together and they kind of create their own sound, and they help each other.
They all write each other's music. They feature on each other's stuff. They're all touring together at different times. Yep. And now so like there's Lainey Wilson, Ernest, Jelly Roll. These are the people I've seen.
What about all the Luke, Zachs, and Brians?
Those guys are separate.
Okay.
Zach Top, though we saw him with Lainey Wilson. He's more in the fold. He's a little younger than this main crew. Who else? Hardy. I didn't see Hardy, but he's kind of part of this crew. Morgan Wallen.
How about one of the guys there that was on the Thanksgiving Day halftime show?
Jelly Roll in. Well, Shabuzi was the one we watched. Shabuzi is a weird one for me because I enjoy the music he creates, but I don't put it on my country playlist because it doesn't play well with the type of country music I like to listen to. Yeah. You can say it's country music because he's to me it's like a pop or rap maybe. I don't know what you I don't want to just say it's rap just because he's a black guy.
Yeah.
It's country rap.
Yeah.
Hip hop.
Okay. I like the way you're putting this. To me, I just think it's just the sound from the lyrics. you can say, yeah, they're like country in their nature and with the lyrics, but the sound of the music is just pop to me.
Yeah.
Whereas the country music, I want the fiddle, I want the country sounds.
A name like Shabuzi too, don't really.
Yeah,
say
and again,
country.
I do like he's got that massive song. I'm pouring a shot of whiskey. Me and Jack Daniels got a history. You know that one?
Yeah.
It's a great song, and when you're all dancing and going nuts, it slaps. But it's I don't really. For me, it's not really country.
Before we look at the shows, did you guys see Jay Leno take a face plant?
I heard about it.
I've heard. Oh my god!
Did you see what he looks like?
Oh, it's awful too. You
Speaking
should
of
see
old
the
guy energy.
You should see the fucking hill he fell down too. It's so so.
Oh, no, it's a steep hill. It's.
But it's little, and why would he try and go
Was it
down
little?
it? Yes. Have you seen it, Curtis?
I saw a news clip and they said we think this is the hill, so maybe it's a different one.
The real. So somebody found the real hill.
Where
that
was
he fell down? So this was somewhere in California, I believe.
He
He's
was
at
at
a hotel.
Oh yeah, he's at a hotel going to Denny's or something.
Yeah,
TGI
like
Friday.
It's
where
on
the
video?
parking lot
Is
is.
it-
No, it's not on
Oh,
video.
okay. No.
No,
No, but you can see a picture of him now.
Yeah, he got fucked up from falling down this hill, like an older guy
Yeah,
would.
yeah.
He's how old is he? He's older,
Yeah.
60s.
He's got to be
He's 70. Yeah, he's 70 something.
Yeah, he's an older guy, so you would expect him to get bruised up. I think people give him too much shit. Jay Leno, I don't think he's not. He's the poor guy. He's not my favorite
almost
Tonight
looks
Show
like Mike
host,
Tyson.
but
he you say that he is light years better than any of these dopes that are on there now. They all suck now. I mean, they are just.
he at least had an edge. He had a line. He was, this is me. This is what I'm not going to be
he
a
was
shill.
authentic, I think.
Yeah,
these
I
guys,
agree.
These guys now are suck ups, sycophants. They're they're
Well,
awful.
people. That was a lot of people's complaint, right? Is I guess his transition from being a stand-up to being on the Tonight Show. People are like, oh, you sanitized yourself, you sold out, all this stuff. But like you're saying, it's nothing in comparison to Jimmy and Jimmy.
Oh.
Jimmy and Jimmy.
Did you watch? Did you see him on the parade?
Okay.
Parade morning.
One credit to Jimmy Fallon. Okay, he's out there. I don't think anyone would deny Jimmy Fallon is some kind of corporate shill, right? He's just there for the paycheck. Yes, this is the hill.
That's the one he fell down.
Yes.
It's pretty steep though.
But why would he even decide to
Why
walk
would
down
you-
this?
No, you
Me
don't go
as a
down that.
24-year-old, I would look at this and say, I'm not going down that.
If I was
Yeah.
gonna get down that and the grass was wet, I wouldn't. I just wouldn't.
Yeah.
I would go around.
I
'Cause
think-
I know I'd wipe out.
I think he was drunk or something like that, or trying.
Could have been.
Decided to navigate the hill. And
He's
walk.
just a total old guy, like you said, old guy energy moment. He stumbles down a hill and almost killed himself. But Joe Rogan was saying this. Joe Rogan was kind of giving him credit, saying that he's a real guy. Like for any crap anyone wants to give him, he's just a real guy. He's a regular guy. He loves his cars. He's always riding his motorcycle, driving his cars.
You've been to local car shows.
Yeah.
All these old guys are there.
They
like
wanna-
to
they
like
wanna
to
be
shoot
him.
the shit with each other. Look at whatever. I don't think he's any different than that.
Nope.
If he doesn't know you, if you don't know him, you wouldn't even know that he was a famous rich guy.
When you see, what's the name of his car show he did for a while? Didn't he do a show where he just
still
talks
does
about
it.
cars?
Yeah.
Jay
Leno.
Leno's garage.
Yeah. That's like hanging out with one of our uncles.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
It's, you can just totally see who
They
this guy
kind of
is.
look the same.
Yeah, they definitely got a similar look. They dress similar, I can tell you that.
Jeans.
Yeah, jeans and like a flannel shirt or something like
Yeah,
that.
or
that's
kind
your
of the
standard.
Canadian tuxedo
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah, that's right.
Denim on denim.
That's kind of the old guy at the car show look.
It is. Cars and coffee look.
Got some New Balance or something.
Yeah.
And, some big relaxed fit jeans.
It's anyway, yeah. It just. Why would you try walking down that hill? It's such a little hill, but it's so steep that
Yeah.
again, even I would look at it and go, "I'm not
Probably
doing
not.
this." Yeah, maybe going up it if I felt like it, but I'm definitely not going down.
Yeah, that's a I mean, you got to know better than to try that.
Yeah.
So what about Jimmy Fallon?
Oh yeah, at the parade, right? So for whatever you want to say about him, there's something about it to me that is like punk rock. The willingness to show up to your job every day, like blackout, hammered.
Yeah.
Like there's something punk rock about that. Like, yeah, I'm going on live TV and I'm gonna be out here just being an idiot. Like he's literally on the street. It's pouring rain. It's dark out, and he's got his sunglasses on, and they're trying to talk to him, and he's like, "I got no idea what you're saying, but it's a party out here."
I got another thing to add to the parade. To the parade, how for our entire lives it's been Savannah Guthrie, Matt Lauer, and Al Roker. Now Savannah Guthrie looks old. They dragged some hobo off the street and called him Al Roker.
I thought Savannah was looking good at the parade. All right,
we got
lay off Savannah. Okay, Hoda was looking scary. Hoda is starting to look more like Hoda now. If you told me, like,
who's Hoda? The other woman.
Yoda's wife.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know what her name was, but
Hoda's
and Matt Lauer would still be out there if he didn't get canceled.
Yeah.
So
I'm so glad that guy got burned off the earth.
At what point are we gonna get a new hosts for this parade? Because it's been the same people forever.
The problem with network television is the only people watching that, and I'm old, but the only people watching network television are in their 70s and 80s. So to them, those people still look young, and they can identify with them.
Right.
And because they got dementia, they say, "Oh, I remember that person." So it's a feeling of home. I guess,
and also, like you guys pointed out on the Sesame Street float, they still have some of the original cast of Sesame Street, the grown-up characters. At least one of them, he was still on this. For me, I do like that. We're gonna carry on. We're gonna do this until we die.
Right to the end.
I think you do have to bring new people in and build them up over time. But
Carol Spinney was Big Bird until the day he died. Basically, I mean, he did it almost up until the point where he couldn't move anymore.
I think we're past the point of needing to bring somebody in, though. They need to get somebody in now.
Oh yeah.
To start,
well, what
to
happened
pass
to
the torch.
They had a handful. What happened to Carson Daly? What happened to him?
He got canceled too.
Did he?
Yeah.
Ryan Seacrest, what happened to him? Because he was
Ryan Seacrest is still out.
He got
there.
oversaturated though. He was doing everything.
Yeah, he's got his money.
Jimmy Fallon took his spot.
It's Ryan Seacrest's New Year's Eve special now. I think Dick Clark's gone.
To be honest, I think they're afraid to bring in new people to do it because
they probably can't even pay people. That's part of the problem. I'm sure Al Roker's sucking down most of the. How much money are they making other than what they make? I guess they make money because that's who pays to put commercials on, right?
Yeah.
The commercial people pay them directly. So whether or not anybody's watching, they're still getting paid.
I was shocked. I thought Al Roker was dead. I didn't know he was still out there.
He's close. Yeah. He is close.
He was limping.
Who do you want to bring in to host the parade or host the Today Show? Who do you want to bring in?
I think you got to bring in somebody nobody has any idea who they are. They got to bring in the flower guy, Matt Lauer, the flower guy.
That's the thing. I don't care who they bring in. I think you keep bringing people in, you give them their own segment, you man on the street, whatever it is, you build people up.
Don't you think that these executives though are super gun shy about hiring anyone because you gotta vet them to the nth degree. You gotta make sure they never did anything on social media. You gotta make sure they never said anything, that they didn't get in any trouble in any way. And then do you bring on a man, a woman? Do you bring on somebody that is more transgender area? I mean, what do you do? I don't even know how you could even cast something anymore.
I do think that is a dilemma. Like who are you going to cast? You don't want to. But that's where I think Curtis made a good point with bringing on the landscaper guy who turns into Matt Lauer. You know what I mean?
But what if he turns into Matt Lauer?
But so I'm saying more of the idea like hire from within. I'm sure there's people there that they have hired to do whatever it is. You're already background checking these people. If you get somebody, there was an era of time where people posted things online and didn't think of the repercussions. If you are my age or younger, you are well aware of the repercussions. So if you desired a certain career path that required you to have a clear history, internet history, I'm sure these people exist, right? I don't think they're far and few between that are squeaky clean on paper by all accounts, by paper or by e-paper, whatever you want to say, by paper or by hard drive. They are clean.
Al Roker makes $10 million from the Today Show.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
just robbery.
I honestly don't understand how they're able to justify making even a fraction of that money, let alone paying somebody that. I don't know how this whole thing works.
There's some history though, because when I was a kid, it was Willard Scott, and he stayed around there forever, even to the point where he can only work a day or two a week. But they kept him on because people identified with him and remembered him from years ago. And he wasn't the weatherman. He was just an old guy that went on there and gave people's birthdays that had turned 100. But
What's the story? Like, I always hear jokes about some newscaster that recorded tapes of himself before he died that he wanted played on air after his death. You ever heard anything like this?
no.
I've heard it like a running gag, like a newscaster's getting old, time to start recording the tapes. I've heard it multiple places, but I
Yeah.
never understood it. I didn't know if you knew.
No, it doesn't ring a bell to me, but I'm sure it happens.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know who you want to host the friggin' TV, but you're the host of your own TV now. You're clicking through YouTube,
Yeah.
all these other apps. You don't need network TV. It's
TV's like the radio used to be, on its way out. Nobody really pays attention to it.
You know what? Because radio unfortunately is on the way out to a degree, but I do love the radio, and I want what we're doing now to be the radio so bad. Like it's not the radio, and it's never gonna be the radio, and that has a lot of benefits to it. But I think if this was the freaking radio, that is way cooler. Coming out of everybody's car, again, if you lived in a world where people listened, right?
Yeah.
Coming through people's car, or you got to have an actual radio where you're tuning in. There's no means of video. You're not worried about the video. We could be anyone, anywhere. We could look like anything, right? The anonymity, and then the biggest part of it all is playing music. Like that is the ultimate, I think.
Not to bring up that Yacht Rock documentary again, but that's what they claim killed Yacht Rock was MTV came on the scene, and you had to make a video. You had to have a certain look. The music didn't have to be any good, but if you could make a good video, and then that's what they started playing on radio stations. So all these guys that were doing Yacht Rock, they were all, they were
Weirdos.
session musicians. I mean, they didn't look like, a video star or anything. So they just got lost. They got thrown by the wayside because MTV hit,
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, a lot of these guys went on to do movie soundtracks because, something you could do and not be part of MTV.
Right.
You could make music, make money, and be part of the culture. But MTV ruined it.
If you just want to make music for the sake of making it now, there's no better time.
Yeah.
Like for I think of any art, like people want to argue about movies, TV, what YouTube is. We don't really even know what YouTube is yet. It's still its own thing. It's YouTube. It's not been even close to replicated yet. It's still its own thing. But music, of all things, like there was a rocky time there where Metallica didn't want to be on iPods because they thought they weren't going to get paid. Yeah. There was a rocky moment. Now it doesn't seem to matter. The idea is if you write good music, put it out there, you'll figure out the money part afterwards. The money part's going to come. It doesn't matter. If you write something good, put
Oliver Anthony.
Yeah, that I think is a perfect example. This guy essentially in a vacuum, right?
Yeah.
That's how I look at us posting, by the way. We are kind of posting in a vacuum here, right? There's no reason the outside world is going to click on the Kinville Show number 15, right? To the outside world, that is meaningless. Nobody's going to click on that. People who know us, who are inside of our vacuum, are going to click on it. But outside of our vacuum, nothing. But this guy posts a video on YouTube, in a complete vacuum. Nobody knows where he is or who he is, and boom, now everybody does. So
Yeah, it just hits.
that's the power music has. And you know, this guy outwardly said, I don't want to make money, I don't care about making money. He found a way to get the money. He drives around in a Razor down city streets. You just saw the Camping with Steve video, right?
Yeah, he just goes four-wheeling in and side by side. He's got it all tricked out with AC and
Camping
full
with
cab.
Steve did a crossover
With
with Oliver Anthony.
This guy Oliver Anthony is such a weird guy, right?
Yeah.
After he gets famous, he's now just using his fame to hang out with the YouTubers that he watches, and he happens to Carter pull up Camping with Steve. Screw the TV portion of this
I figured
thing.
it was
Let's go right to YouTube because we don't even care about this. Camping with Steve is one of my most watched channels in the last probably 2 years. He's just this
Or 5.
Yeah, it's probably been a lot longer than 2 years. But Camping with Steve is just a normal guy from Well, he's not normal. I shouldn't say that. He is a well-intentioned guy from Canada, and he just likes to go camping. And his rib is always doing something like risky in terms of camping, right? Like he's stealth camping. So somewhere here, he's got a video with Oliver Anthony. They were hanging out together, but.
Yeah, not that far back.
Steve Wallace is
Yeah.
he's a voice of a people. I don't know what it is. There's a certain type of person that watches these videos. Like,
1.6 million certain type of people.
yeah, I mean maybe he's just viral. I don't know.
Look at how many views his videos get, though.
Millions of
crazy.
views.
Whatever he's got going on, he's hit a vein, and he's the best one at doing it too. You try to
There's
watch.
nobody better.
Well, you know why? Because he started off as literally a homeless guy.
I remember this.
His first videos were just him documenting going to gas fitting school. And it was the dead of winter, and he sets up a tent in a campground so he can be close to school. and he films himself showering in a tent in the middle of winter.
Yeah, in Canada where it's like, you know, below zero or you know whatever they call that in Celsius over there. Literally, so in his videos he would say all the time. He'd be like I can't always remember the correlation of degrees to Celsius, but right now it doesn't matter because it's negative. Is it -40 when they meet up? There's a temperature where they meet up.
Oh, yeah.
And oftentimes in his videos, he'd be like, they're equal right now,
equal, right.
for anyone that's wondering. It's fucking gold. That's what that means. But, yeah, I don't know. He's just authentic. And he,
Oddball
again,
guy.
who comes up with this stuff? Where he went and camped in the middle of a rotary intersection where they had a patch of grass and a couple of trees. He spent the night there. Like,
Hiding out in a bush.
and he cooks dinner there while he's there. It's ridiculous.
What's he do with his money now?
Oh my God! So if this guy couldn't be more endearing, okay, listen to this. This is his life story, right? He was homeless. He was going to school to become a gas fitter. He meets this woman. They get married. He's married to her for years. I don't know how many years they were married. Were they married before gas fitting school?
Yeah, I think they were before his YouTube.
That might have been what got him like kind of cleaning his life up because remember before he was big on YouTube was when he filmed that documentary living in the boondocking. He was living in a camper, like a camper van, and he was
Before it was cool.
and he definitely wasn't doing it in a cool way. He was doing it in a struggling alcoholic kind of a way, right?
Yeah.
Clearly, at some point, he meets this woman, and she kind of turns his life around a little bit. He's still living in a tent, but he's going to gas fitting school. Between his gas fitting career and YouTube, he was able to buy a nice house and nice acreage that he was living at with his wife.
Well, the house was a dump and needed a lot of work.
But for this guy, he's a total oddball guy. Like
Yeah.
it was right up his alley. He was really happy with it. He's constantly working on the house. You see bits of that in the videos, but he's still doing his camping thing. And his wife, he only ever she'd come camping with him in videos, but you never saw her in videos. She would never be in the videos, and he always just referred to her as beautiful wife. And everybody in his videos has like a character name. He's got crazy neighbor, beautiful wife. Everybody's got a name like that. But anyway, so beautiful wife was a character like the guy from Home Improvement that you never saw his face, right?
Yep.
Like a beloved character. Everybody loved it when Beautiful Wife was there. Even if you never saw her, you might hear her say half a word or see a hand, but that was the absolute most.
Yeah.
But beloved character, out of nowhere, Steve posts a video and he just goes, "Well, guys, I'm really sorry for no videos recently, but I just want to let you know that Beautiful Wife has passed away. And I don't know how we're going to go forwards at this time, but I need some time to myself. And thank you guys." And, that's it.
Yeah.
The internet was ripped apart. Like this, because the guy is such a genuine guy, and we've never seen him cry like this. And now he's doing this video so sincere, so genuine that his wife just died. Again, we've never even got to see her, but just from what you see in the videos, like this is like as far as what you see in media, like this was. Imagine if Pam and Jim, all of a sudden Pam's just dead.
Yeah.
That's what this is, and this is real life.
Yeah.
This is not a TV show. Internet is ripped apart. The whole world rallies behind this guy, and everyone's like, "Steve, we love you. Like, you're the best. You're the greatest." Love and support for Steve. And Steve, because he is the right guy for the job, he goes, "Thank you guys for all the support." He goes, "You know what? I've decided I'm going to keep doing these camping videos. I'm going to keep doing this, and I'm going to show people, even when you're at your lowest and times are really tough." He's like, "I'm going to show people you can get past it and have a good day." You know what I mean? Like this guy is just, again, started as an alcoholic Canadian. He is now like this spokesperson of a generation. So I don't know if that's enough raving about
people love
camping with
authenticity,
Steve.
though. There's such a lack of authenticity in the world that when somebody that comes along that you can see is not trying to sell you anything or trick you into doing anything. It's just rare.
He's just so genuine. And shout out Steve Wallace. Big fans.
Same thing with the Outdoor Boys. That guy really blew up because same deal with him.
Very genuine.
Just a real oddball guy, but super genuine.
Super knowledgeable too. So like camping with Steve is more like novel. You know what I mean? I don't like watch him for like informational purposes. Outdoor Boys, on the other hand, I think is more akin to Survivor Man, in terms of what they were doing. And obviously not as hardcore. This guy camps with his kids a lot, but there were times when this guy from Outdoor Boys, he would legitimately do Survivor Man, Les Stroud style videos where he's getting dropped off and his wife's picking him up at a certain place, and he's got to get from A to B with whatever he packed in his pack. So just really good content, and again, people that are just able to be genuine, real people are going to have success.
Yeah.
But Outdoor Boys, as much as I like them, that's my critique, is that I'm a Survivor Man fan, so it's okay for other people to rip off his idea wholesale. That's okay. I understand that's the market we live in now. You can just rip people off wholesale, and not to totally throw them under the bus, but to me, you can. Every episode of Survivor Man is free on YouTube. You can go watch it. The quality's a little bit low, but that's the original of originals, and there's hundreds of episodes of it. So I do like to see different styles, at least mix up the style. You know what I mean?
You got to take into account that there's more than one way to skin a cat, too. I mean, there's lots of ways to survive. There's always new things that come out.
Or I'm really even just saying in terms of the filmmaking style, right? Like, which also I would even, if I'm really thinking about it, I might even call out Casey Neistat's YouTube videos for ripping off Can we call him the first vlogger? Can we look this up, Carter? When did the season 1 of Survivor Man come out? Because he 100% is vlogging.
Yeah. Oh,
in
yeah,
that.
absolutely.
He is alone talking to a camera.
It was well before YouTube.
I think
He's walking along, setting up his camera, walking back, walking towards the camera.
Yeah.
Walking back, picking up the camera, just the same way that millions of people do on YouTube all the time.
2005 is
2005.
Same time.
Well, that's literally the year YouTube came out, right?
Yeah.
So, but obviously there was a show that was on TV, but I think whether anybody knew it or not, I think that is that's the format of every YouTube video now.
Oh, it says the season 1, episode 1 was October 13th, 2004. I don't know why it says 2005. Google says 2005, but the first episode, the date is October 13th, 2004.
Google when the first vlog was.
You're going to get varying answers on that.
That even sounds like too late to me, 2005. Like, I thought it was before that.
Yeah, I thought it was. Back
I mean, it wasn't even like those first ones. Those weren't even in the widescreen format. Those were.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. But I mean, 2005, 2004, 2005.
That sounds
there
right
was still
to me.
no flat screens at that point, right?
We had a plasma TV around then.
I don't think
I
so.
don't know.
Not when we were 7.
5 is pretty young for me. Things are a bit hazy at 5.
We got that plasma to watch one of the Patriot Super Bowls, and I thought it was in the first dynasty, but
what's that saying? Like 2004 for the first vlog?
It's saying,
The origin of the vlog.
yeah, it's saying 2000. This guy, that's who
Okay.
they're giving it credit to. This guy,
Yeah.
in 2000, posted a video to a
there's-
blog.
There's actually
He just posted a video to the blog, or did who used the term video blog? Because whoever used the term video blog, it
People-
got abbreviated to vlog.
That
People
yeah,
used to-
video log is what
Okay,
it's called. Video
yeah.
logging.
Okay, yeah.
The first video log.
so people used to do it though in the 90s because there's
Captain's log.
there's actually videos of there's a guy, I can't remember what his channel is, but he's got all these vlogs that he recorded of himself in the 90s on VHS cameras, and he's put them on
The guy
YouTube.
from Blind Melon did that. Did you guys ever hear about this? There's a documentary. I think it's called No Rain.
yeah.
The lead singer of 90s band, somewhat of a one-hit wonder. I won't call him a one-hit wonder. I think they've got more than one hit, but close
They
to
had
one.
one radio hit.
Yeah, No Rain is really their only true hit. But anyway, this guy, he filmed everything. He recorded all his life, and they ended up editing it together as a documentary you can watch. I haven't seen it. I don't know how interested I am in seeing it, but that when it came out, they were kind of like, that's part of the marketing. They're like, oh, this guy's like the original YouTuber. He's filming everything.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of people have done it. The Goldbergs. The premise of the TV show The Goldbergs is because a
right.
kid in the 80s taped his family constantly.
Yeah.
I think since home video has been invented, people have constantly been trying to document. Like, who doesn't have a home video from somewhere in their past, long before YouTube existed, where it's a holiday and your dad is or your mom is describing. Or it's somebody. Oh, today is Carter's birthday. We got him this cake. We got him these toys over here. I feel like that's a very common home
that's
video.
been going on since the 50s.
So, the idea of who you're talking to changed, right? Because in a home video, you're talking to your future self, and your future family. But now the idea is you're talking to somebody on the other side of the screen. But
even in the beginning of YouTube, that's how the videos were. You're talking to future self, or you're
Right.
not really talking. You weren't talking to anybody. Beginning of YouTube.
well, not necessarily. I think there were pockets of community. I think that's what spurred the birth of YouTube. I feel like was community. If depending on who you want to listen to, but I listen to basically the guys that founded YouTube as we know it, the Vlog brothers actually. what's their names? The guy who wrote The Fault in Our Stars. You guys heard of this guy? Hank Green. John and Hank Green, right? Aren't they the Vlog Brothers?
I don't remember.
Yeah, you're out of my realm.
Yeah.
We're getting too deep on this one, I think.
Too deep on the YouTube lore, but the Vlog Brothers, they used to run the YouTube homepage back in the day, and there was this whole generation of YouTubers that they all like lived very similar to what Vine was in its heyday, right? They all lived very close to each other.
Yeah,
and
John and Hank Green.
Yeah, these guys, if there's ever
I know Tom Green, but I don't know any other ones.
Tom Green, big shout out. Let's pull up. When did the Tom Green Show? He used to do a live broadcast. They shout him out all the time for being a pioneer of the podcast. He did exactly what we are doing now, but he did it light years before, like to the point where he had to like pay a fucked up amount of money because internet used to be expensive.
Yeah, you used to have to pay.
Which is bananas. What year was this that he was doing this? Can you find out his live show?
1994.
1994. And
30 years.
Joe Rogan came on his show then, and he sits down, and it's really bizarre because Joe Rogan he has an inability to be somebody else, right? He's always this machismo character, right? Whether he will admit he is or isn't, he is always this character.
Yeah, that's true. He's basically the same guy that was on Fear Factor.
Legitimately. But a lot of times, especially in his earlier content, right, it's really edited, so you don't get to see the whole him. But when you see him on this old episode of Tom Green's show, he comes in and it's exactly how he is now when he comes on somebody's podcast. But he walks in there and he goes, man, this is so cool. He's like, you don't have to listen to anybody. You can talk about whatever you want. No ad breaks. This is the best.
Yeah.
And 1990 something.
94, 30 years ago.
No one could have guessed we'd be doing it now. But yeah, so we want to talk about pioneers. Unrelated, but Tom Green is the OG, and John and Hank Green helped pioneer YouTube. So a lot of Greens in the pioneers of the internet space. But Curtis is over it. We talked too many movies.
He's
for
nodding
him.
off over here.
He's falling asleep.
Yeah, he was done. He didn't even get into it.
I was done about halfway through, and then when we got to the Thanksgiving parade, I had some stuff to say about it.
Which I also learned that Bluey is a girl.
Are you allowed to classify it? Did Bluey identify that way, or
So I've never seen the show, but I didn't know this. I didn't realize how popular the character even was. And apparently this wasn't even the first time Bluey had a balloon in the parade. Apparently Bluey had a balloon last year, but I was talking to somebody and I was like, oh yeah, I saw Bluey balloon. I thought that was cool. They had him there. They're like, oh, but Bluey and Bingo, I think they're both there are female characters in the show. Not seen the show, but I'm told it is entertaining. It spans age groups, or at very least, if you have to watch a show with kids, you're not going to suffer, is what I've heard. That
used to be the model for kids shows.
Used to not make kids shows.
Make it for adults, but make it so kids can find something and adults can find something.
Flintstones and Jetsons are colorful, so kids will watch them. But really,
Looney Tunes. We were just watching some. I mean,
Looney Tunes is more, I think, a kid's show. Like, it's just juvenile. Like, if you have a juvenile sense of humor, it's still funny to you. But I think it's just straight
there's
juvenile.
There's little Easter eggs in there for the time that it was created for adults. You know, just whether it's
stuff about the war, a lot of World War II jokes.
Or whoever was a popular performer or a star at the time.
Bugs Bunny, apparently his whole thing, what we know now is the character of Bugs Bunny apparently was just a parody of a comedian in his time. You heard of this? I thought
he was based on Humphrey Bogart or something like that.
Maybe, I don't know. I know he's like based on something else. Yeah, and Vince Vaughn is based on that.
Yeah, a cartoon version of a real person. You know, I think that's basically what Bugs Bunny was, but I don't know how Vince Vaughn fits into that.
You don't think Vince Vaughn does like a Bugs Bunny impression? Vince Vaughn in Swingers, okay, before he really came into his own.
I think
feel like
Vince
he was
Vaughn
trying to do
does in Uncle Buck when
John Candy.
no, not John Candy, the Home Alone.
Oh yeah,
Macaulay
yeah.
Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin.
When Macaulay Culkin sits down at the table and asks John Candy those consecutive questions, I think Vince Vaughn based his whole act off of Macaulay Culkin doing that.
Yeah,
Just that constant
rattling off
rat-a-tat-tat.
questions.
Yeah, manic behavior.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I mean, Curtis is really having a tough time here. Mom wants to know how come. What do we say?
She says, "Why do you never see Carter on camera?" And it's because we don't have enough cameras. This is the only camera that.
Wave your arms so people can see you.
I'm
So,
back here.
Mom, you might need to put your glasses on, but he's here.
Yeah, I could be not on camera. That would be much better.
Yeah.
You could. We could. Well, I told Curtis to move his monitor here because I thought somebody might have sat over there, but.
Well, yeah.
But it's all
Anyway.
cool. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all a work in progress. So I mean, you got to keep making changes, moving things. Figure out what works the best.
Yeah, I've been trying to decide how to rearrange the space here. I've been thinking about switching it up some, changing how it's laid out.
I almost feel like your desk would go better where that couch is because there's just a lot of dead space behind you over there. The desk put it
The
out
only reason the
here,
room got set up the way it is, well, one, this pole.
and two, the TV.
Well, that bump out thing over there. The TV, you could go anywhere. When we set this room up, we talked about putting the TV on this wall.
We could do a whole renovation down here.
The reason we never see this viewpoint is I feel like it just doesn't look great.
Lighting's a little off.
Yeah,
there's a lot of things you could.
You can't see the person that's talking. Yeah,
Well,
the lights on the top here, they don't.
We could have the associate
look right.
producer come and sit in on a show and make some changes.
Yeah,
That's true. We've been trying to get Mom to come on the show, but maybe someday it'll happen.
Maybe you can get her and Amy at the same time.
That'd be fun.
I think we got to have Amy alone.
Well,
Just
I definitely think to get to like the fun stuff, like we can't exactly have fun if Mom's going to be on the show. We can have a heart to heart, but we're not going to be making all kinds of poop jokes, But anyhow, yeah, I mean, I don't know if we can probably start to wrap things up. I guess Curtis's Pepsi is out. He's rattling the can.
I don't mind hanging out.
What time is it?
7:45.
I mean, we were over an hour. Oh, I'm in trouble now. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. I mean, I don't even know where else we were going with this. I'm excited to get my camera in the mail. My $135.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how it comes out. I mean, if it films all right.
I don't see how it could be that bad. I just feel like
Maybe the new vlogs and the podcast can feed off of each other and.
Yeah, I'm hoping it will because, again, I want to make videos for my own memory's sake. But I do think I actually kind of more or less know I think the videos are going to outpace the views on the podcast at least for a while.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
We just drive more traffic towards the podcast.
Yeah, hopefully. But for whatever reason, people do seem to like my videos. We were going through. I didn't realize how many views some of them have.
Yeah.
But some of them have some crazy numbers, and nothing's had enough views in a short enough amount of time to amount to any money. But there's some big numbers out there, so people are clicking. So
The first Pit Viper video, that's the one you really got jobbed on because,
Well, that one, it would have been a moneymaker, but at the time, I wasn't even monetized when it first came out.
Yeah.
That's probably what helped you get monetized, though.
Oh, it definitely helped me get monetized.
And I feel like Pit Viper kind of screwed you over, too. I mean,
I 100% have felt gypped by Pit Viper, and to an extent, you can say who am I to be over here complaining? How much have I actually reached out to them? I can tell you this. They used to have this way you could enter to be a brand ambassador for Pit Viper. This whole thing online, and I was email corresponding with a woman, and they're like asking like, what do you have? Like, what are your special, or I forget exactly what they said, but they're like, what sets you apart from everybody else? And I said, I don't know how much this counts for, but I have the most viewed Pit Viper review on YouTube. And I think that, I don't know, like Pit Viper themselves might have posted videos that got more views. I don't know if there's a review that has more views than mine, and certainly not at that time.
At that time, no way. That was the most viewed review.
And so at that time when I said I have the most reviewed Pit Viper video on YouTube, it was over 10,000 views at the time. I don't know what it had exactly. The most viewed Pit Viper review on YouTube. They said, I'm sorry, I don't think you have what we're looking for right now. That's what they emailed me back, okay? I was a little scorned by that, but whatever. We still liked the brand, still bought the stuff. I went to Florida. I met Jack Tenney from Juke Squad, and he had seen the Pit Vipers online, but he'd never seen them in person until I brought him a pair and got a picture of him wearing a pair of Pit Vipers, right? Who did Pit Viper go out and cut a deal with after that? Again, I'm not mad because they cut a deal with Juke Squad and sponsored him. I think he's the right guy, right?
Yeah.
How do you think they found out about this? I don't think. Tell me if I'm crazy for thinking this. I had been in email correspondence with them. I pointed out the fact that I had the most viewed review of Pit Vipers on YouTube. They said they didn't want me, but I continued to post about Pit Vipers continuously. And then I posted on Instagram with him wearing the Pit Vipers. I tagged Pit Viper. I never heard from Pit Viper. But you want to tell me that they made these connections independently of me?
The fact that you tagged Pit Viper, I would say they definitely would have looked into the guy, because Pit Viper, the pictures that I posted back then wearing Pit Vipers,
they used to like and comment on them.
Yeah, they would like and comment on your posts.
They liked and commented on my Instagram posts during that time as well. So again, to an extent, I'm nobody from nowhere, and I don't deserve anything. But they definitely were watching my content, and they definitely went out and got this guy. In my opinion, I don't see any other way around it. I think that's how this went, and I think that's great. They went and got him a sponsorship, but nobody wants to throw me a bone.
I think Pit Viper flamed out like silly bands, though. I think they burnt out. I don't think they didn't evolve. They didn't continue.
No,
the trend.
you're wrong. They've evolved. There's still a trend. Kids
Calvin
love
got
them.
thrown more of a bone just for running up to him at a rest stop.
Was that Utah? I think
it was
out
Utah,
in the Utah,
Idaho. Maybe-
Idaho desert somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere.
These guys were out mountain biking, and they were in the Pit
Probably the
Viper
main
truck.
guys.
Definitely some of the legit guys for sure. Pit Viper has evolved, and I think I still overall like the brand. The quality has dropped off. The prices are hiked, and the quality has dropped off. So that's annoying.
Look at how many different styles they have now.
Yeah,
and look at their clothes too. Go to their clothes.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. I think the glasses were one thing, but you need to continue it on to other areas. And I
see these ones here. I thought were.
I like these too.
This was a new.
And these ones flip up, right?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, go to the ones that flip up. Those are the ones I want.
Oh yeah, they do have the flight optics that lift up.
Yeah, look at those things. That's what I want.
Those look a little weird though. I feel like compared to the other ones.
The problem is they are all wicked chintzy now, because I bought a new pair recently, and it's like buying stuff from Spirit Halloween. It is. It's like Spirit Halloween shit. Unless you buy the most expensive, go to their 2000s model.
I thought you can still get the unpolarized ones are still the old style. I'm trying to see.
They're not though.
Are you sure? The ones
I am positive.
The wraparound.
I am positive. I would so.
Do they still have the? Oh, they got Leonardo's still, but do they have the mystery?
These are the ones that started off with the military specs.
Yeah. So initially, they were literally using military surplus, and actually, Carter's got a pair of them on the shelf over there that he spray painted. You can compare the original Pit Vipers to the military surplus, and they are exact.
See,
There's no difference.
This one's got the side piece on there.
Yeah. No. It is the same visual product. Physically, it is made different.
It's the Chinese ones instead of continuing on making their own.
So what I would say,
they started taking all the Chinese ones.
As near as I can tell now, there's no difference between the knockoff and the real thing. At one time there was. At one time, Pit Viper did sell a nut. It was $60, and you got a nice rugged pair of safety goggles.
Yeah.
That's what you got. Initially, that is no longer the case. I don't know when exactly it changed, but the last couple of pairs of Pit Vipers I've seen that are real Pit Vipers came from Pit Viper, same quality as the gas station knockoff.
Yeah.
Which is really disheartening. But what are you gonna do? That's business.
That's the way of the world, right there.
Yeah.
Create something good, get people hooked on it, and then turn it all to crap.
Turn it to shit.
Make your money.
That's why, Ray-Bans get crap just because they're expensive, partially because they're just a name brand. But I would say my Ray-Bans are probably the nicest pair of sunglasses I own. And is it a coincidence they were the most expensive? I don't really think so.
I think you basically get what you pay for with sunglasses.
Yeah.
I would agree. I think that if you pay a lot of money, I think you'd get a decent pair of glasses.
But and that's where Pit Viper broke onto the market because it was inexpensive. $60 was not a crazy price, but you at one point were getting a quality product.
Yeah, well, they probably paid $2 a pair for them, government surplus. You can go onto an auction and buy 100,000 pairs of them for next to nothing.
That's
Right.
The way Pit Viper started was it was a ski guy that lived at a ski mountain out west or whatever, a ski bum life guy, and he went out and bought 10,000 pairs of those glasses for like $5 or whatever, and then he started spray painting them in himself and doing stupid shit to the sunglasses and wearing them on the ski mountain, and everybody's like, "Whoa, look at those! I want a pair of those." And so he started like giving them away to his buddies or whatever, and then selling them, and then that's how the Pit Viper started because it was just something. I mean, the name itself is a stupid.
No, the
Pit
whole
Viper.
thing was a rib, and it all, like you're saying, it had to have come from somebody who was a skier because it was so ingrained. Like the term hot dogging, I don't know how well that's known, but that's like if you're out there on the mountain and whether or not your skis are actually moving, if you're out there on the mountain and you're really flailing your body around and going nuts on the mountain, right? You're hot dogging, right? These are very specific ski terms. And
that was the name of a ski movie, Hot Dog.
Was it?
I'm pretty sure.
Maybe that has something to do with the term too. But I always associated it with the guy that's working way too hard to be skiing that slow, right? That's where the term comes from for me. Well, so
that's an original pair.
And as soon as this landed in my hand, this is way high. My original pair of Pit Vipers, unfortunately, I had them in a pants pocket, and I sat down, and the pants pocket was too tight, and it crushed them. And these sunglasses, if you see them, they're the pink ones, but they're like sun faded because I wore the hell out of them, right? So they had plenty of use, and eventually they broke because they were in my pocket, which they should not have been. But this is a much heavier duty piece of plastic in a thicker, heavier duty lens than what is sold now.
You should look real close and see if there's an ANSI number on there for safety glasses.
There's not, but
even
what
on
I
the
can
military
tell you,
ones, I don't think there's an ANSI rating.
Grab me one of those. I want to check those pink ones, Carter.
Yeah.
I want to check because I think those do have them. I could be wrong, but I want to check.
It's usually on the lens, I think, right?
Yeah. Wicked dusty, but this is the actual military surplus.
So, the farther into the Pit Viper lore, he started selling them, they are an old military whatever sunglasses from the 90s, and they weren't making them anymore. So the guy went out and he bought the molds for them, but because he was buying these, he bought these old molds. They didn't go through the effort of making them safety rated. So they're the exact same glasses that the military uses for safety glasses. They just didn't go through the process of getting the safety rating, and then that's why they came out with that.
The video of them shooting it.
Well, yeah, they shot them, but then they came out with a Pit Viper.
2000s.
Yeah, Pit Viper 2000s, which the big deal was. Which
They are safety rated. The
Yeah.
2000. That's
yeah.
what I'm thinking of. I knew I saw a safety rating on something that's on the 2000.
Yeah.
You know, one thing too. I don't know. I get it. You want to come out with a more expensive model of the Pit Viper, and have that be a nicer quality or whatever. But to have the product that I like and then play switch up on me, tell me no. If you want something quality, you have to pay the $100 price mark, because what I initially bought and was sold on doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's a little frustrating, Pit Viper. So, send me some free stuff, or I won't pipe down.
There's no reason for them to be that expensive either, because those Bolé sunglasses I have are, I mean, they're I would say they're similar quality to this, and it was $50
Yeah.
for a name brand.
I buy $4 safety glasses, and I always swore by good sunglasses, and I've had expensive glasses my whole life.
Yeah.
And for $4, these aren't quite as good, but I don't give a shit if they get lost or if Calvin takes the entire box and loses them.
And also, to an extent, like even an expensive pair of glasses, they have their limit, like where they're scratched to hell.
Yep.
And it's worse than wearing cheap, shitty glasses.
Yeah,
again,
I get about a year. I mean, I torture them, but I get
Yeah.
about a year before they're all scratched up and really should have new lenses.
I had a pair of Revos that in the 80s cost $150, and they were in a backpack, and I sat down on a bench and just leaned against it and smashed them, you know. And yeah, you can get them replaced and they'll do certain things, but you know, at some point, you know, oh well, the lenses were scratched, well, I'll just get another pair. But you know, that's why, you know, for $4 I found something that doesn't hurt my eyes essentially, and
Right.
bonus they're safety glasses, and bonus they're cheap, so when they get scratched up or somebody takes them or you lose them or whatever, who cares?
I'm big on the, you know what? Actually, here's what I'll stand on this episode. I'll say this right out the gate. I'm done with Pit Viper. I don't like Pit Vipers. I don't wear them anymore. You know what I've worn religiously for the last couple of years is my Ombres.
Yeah.
Ombres are the sunglasses of the future. They're armless. They have a strap. They don't fall off your head even when you're doing sports, skiing down a hill. I took a branch to the face and I didn't lose my Ombres. They're almost like a goggle in that fashion.
Yeah.
Shout out Ombre. Please send me free stuff.
Well, they're harder to break too because they don't have the arms.
They
The
don't
arms
have-
usually what break.
That going back to Napoleon Dynamite, they have a video of them running them over with a van. The video is obviously inspired by Napoleon Dynamite. But yeah, here they are. This is the exact pair I have. I have the polarized lenses, but they keep coming out with stuff to add on to this to make them better. They have safety guards. Pop it in there. Look at that. That'll keep the snow out, keep the sawdust out, whatever you're trying to do. I don't know if it'll really keep the sawdust out, but it'll help. But they also just released. Go to that nose pad. I just saw that. I haven't seen
Nose riser.
the nose riser. This thing clips into the middle part there.
Is that the only frame they
um,
have?
No, there's 3 frame options. But these so.
I mean, but you're $215 now.
But I wish I knew what year I bought these. I could probably go back on my
Dolomite.
YouTube channel. Oh, they got a few more options now. But I don't know when I got them. I've had them for years now. I don't know. Multiple years. I would be willing to say 4 years I've had these sunglasses. I haven't lost them. They've barely gotten scratched. My favorite thing is you can just wear them like a necklace. You loosen the strap up and you wear them like a necklace. And the sunglasses don't hang funny. It actually will sit flat to the point where I can put it under my shirt and I don't even notice it's there, to the point where I'll lay down in bed at night after taking off my t-shirt, be like, oh yeah, my sunglasses are still here. You know what I mean? So as a person that's always wearing sunglasses, it's the best, because you put them up, throw them down, they're off, throw them back up, they're on. No arms, no nothing. Love them. Great sunglasses. Couldn't recommend them enough. Also, people always want to talk to you about them. Conversation piece. So if you're a weirdo like me that wants that, you're like, oh yeah, these are actually ombres. Yeah, they're no arms, just a strap. You know, you have that conversation every time you wear them. So,
well, we just are about to hit 2 hours, so
our longest episode yet.
yeah.
Wow.
Well, good. And you can call some of that advertisement unpaid advertisement.
Yeah,
But,
you have to get an hour and a half in to get to it though, so it's not like anybody's gonna be.
I'm gonna clip it.
benefiting
Though.
from it.
Are you
I'm gonna
kidding
clip
me?
it.
I can't believe anybody wouldn't have been riveted to this conversation.
I thought it was going good.
We put out tons of good information.
I thought it was going really well. I liked talking about the TV superhero stuff. For me, it just was real stream of consciousness. But in terms of being stuff I like to talk about and listen to, I'd say we covered most of my bases tonight. Talked about YouTube, comedy, movies. That's all. That's my wheelhouse. So
Yeah, that's authentic right there. Talk about the things that you like. Why not? It's your show, right?
yeah, that's what it was, and that's what you'll get, I guess, because I think we're done. We are out. We'll be back.